Next is the Arabic world. What did the Arabic society have in mind about education? This spreads from 700 AD to 1350 AD. A long time, but again we will look at the 8 elements under the Arabic society. Educational goals. Under the Arabs, cultivating religious commitments to Islamic beliefs was important. Expertise in mathematics, medicine, and science was also important. So these early Arabs had a heavy focus on religious education, believing in the beliefs of the Islamic faith. And that was important. But with this religious, they also focused on secular education, which was medicine, science, mathematics, and stuff like that for their young people. So it was both, and a balance between the Islamic teachings and a balance between the secular teachings of the different subjects needed to be brought about. Who were the students? Who was to receive this education? Male children of upper class ages 7 to 20. This is ancient Arabia. Still, we know that the Arabs, and even today us, we are a very male dominated society, and we see that even in early Arabian times, that only males ages 7 to 20 were expected to receive an education. If you were a female, you were not supposed to receive an education. In Arabia, just like in Greece and in Rome, it was all the males. There was no class system as such in Arabia. And so everybody received an education if you were a male member of the Arabic society at the time. The instructional methods focused on memorization and recitation in primary schools, imitation and discussion in higher schools. So we see a slight influence from the Romans over here, where early education, where you needed to build the foundations, you had to simply memorize and recite. But once you had the basics, to move on, you were allowed to imitate and discuss. So you copied what your teachers did, you repeated what your teachers did, and then you were also allowed to discuss. So in a discussion, you were able to make your point of view and not just depend on the teacher's point of view. Curriculum was mixed: reading, writing, arithmetic, religious literature, and scientific studies. So with religion, lots of other pieces came about, following from the Roman empires, that you needed to have a mixture of studies. New content had to be introduced. And so, with the religious education being important, even the other subjects, teaching of other content was seen to be important. Who were the agents? Who were the teachers? They were done in mosques or court schools. So there were 2 types of schools again. There were schools in mosques and there were schools in the courts, and you went and received an education from there. Influence on education: Arabic numerals and computation, medicine and science materials. We must remember that the early Arabs, the Muslims of that period, had great contributions to make to mathematics, to sciences, particularly to medicine and other areas also. However, we tend to forget them today. In the run for the Western education, we forget what our own Eastern philosophers, our own Muslim philosophers had contributed. They told us all these wonderful things about education. The West actually learned from them. And we today are learning what our Eastern philosophers, what our Muslim philosophers taught the West from the West. Not a fair thing to do. I think we need to give credit to our own philosophers also.